What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video with the Ricks. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on your post notification bell to be notified every single time we post a new video. And I'm telling you guys, please make sure you turn on that post notification bell because I have new content and this content is going to be lit, so you don't want to miss any video that I'm going to be posting. Okay, please turn on your post notification bell. Anyway guys, my name is Maggie and welcome to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about something very interesting, something very new to this channel. Okay, now let's get into it. The things that make people famous: first, lifestyle, money, talent, but there is always a dark side to something, always. Now I'm going to be getting into the dark side of what makes people famous, and our first example will be from our own country, Kenya. Yeah, exactly. And today we are going to be talking about the famous serial killer. I can say the first famous serial killer in Kenya. Yeah, and his name was Philip Onyancha. So today we are going to be getting into the story of the famous Philip Onyancha and us to know what drove Onyancha into doing what he did, and how was his childhood, why did he become what he became in the future, who made him do what the things that he did, his victims, and how was he caught, and even his case, is it closed or still open? Now, if you want to know all this, please keep watching this video to the end. So let's get right into it. As this is the life story of Philip Ondari Onyancha, but that is his full name. Now, Onyancha was born in Western Kenya back in 1978, and he was a very good boy. He did very well in school, and with that he performed very well in his primary school education, and now he was in high school. In high school, his first year was good, did well, just like in primary school how he did, and he was good with extracurricular activities, that is playing football, music, such things in school. And with that, the school loved him. He was good, a good boy. No one had issues with him. But things changed suddenly when he got into Form 2. In Form 2, he started bullying the weaker students, he started bullying the weaker students. Then he was suspended from school for 2 weeks. So akakula sas for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, he came back to school, continued with the same behavior. He was accused again of sodomy. That happens in boys' schools. So he was accused with sodomy, but he denied the accusations and nothing was done about that. He continued with the struggle, being a bad boy in high school. He was done with high school. He went back home, but he did not collect his certificates. So he resat for the same exam in another school. After that, he did not perform very well, and he decided to start working. So after high school, Onyancha went back to his village back in Western, and he stayed there for some time, but he then relocated back to Nyeri. This was after he was accused of trying to rape his neighbor, so he couldn't stay anymore there. He moved back to Nyeri. And now you are all wondering how Philip's childhood was, and I have to tell you guys that he lived a bitter life growing up as a kid. And this is because he said that he was being molested by a worker at his home, and not even once or twice, but multiple times he was being molested. And this happened when he was with his family around his home. And this drove him to think that he could get anything that he wanted if only he used force, because that is what happened to him. Everything that happened to him was by force. So he thought that if I want to go and get something, I have to use force to get it. And that is what made Onyancha turn to what he was. But it's not the only thing, but that is one thing that made him become, can I say the animal or what, but become who he was later in future. Now he's back in Nyeri, the same place that he was back in high school, and he came back to Nyeri because he felt familiar with the area and he could stay there, and just start a new life. because he couldn't go back to his village because of the accusation of trying to rape a neighbor. Now, Onyancha is in Nyeri, and this is where the story gets hot. Now, in Nyeri, Onyancha got a new job, that's being a security guard. And this time with the job, he could be able to fend for his family. But they had a wife. She was called Lydia, and they also had a child. And Lydia, now in Nyeri, Onyancha started to behaving weird. He came home late, leaving the house at odd hours. He was, what can I say? He was not himself. That was what Lydia said. And this made Lydia think that maybe my husband is cheating on me, but they later solved that case between themselves. Now, the area that he lived, the neighbors said that he was very, very weird. And he could put on music, loud music at night. And when the neighbors confronted him about it, he will say that he would ask up someone to come and kill them. And surely no one can argue with such a person. If someone tells you, nitatafuta mtu akuue, acha kunisumbua, like, you just walk away and you can't do anything about that. So many people didn't talk to him. They thought that he was a very weird guy, always kept to himself and said nothing. And at his job, he started coming to work late, leaving his station at odd hours, and that made him lose his job. When Onyancha was giving his testimony, he said that he started hearing voices telling him to go and kill. Now, how comes he was hearing these voices? Now, this is the second thing that drove him to killing people, and this was the worst. Now, when he was in high school, I didn't say this, but let me tell you guys. When he was in high school, he met this teacher. She was a lady, and she introduced him into a cult, so she could call him out of class and tell him to come at the teacher's quarter at her place, and then she do some rituals on him, like cutting some plays, drinking his blood, such things. And he was promised by this lady that if he kills 100 people, he will finally get to meet the head of the cult, and also is going to be given a large sum of money. Being jobless and knowing that you can get you can kill a person to get that money, I know, and thinking and how he thought that he had voices in his head made him think that he can do anything that he wanted. Now, Onyancha, I'm so sorry to say this about these stories. I know it's not a good reminder for some of these families, and I'm really sorry for that. And we should condemn such acts. Yeah, it shouldn't happen, but I'm going to be telling you guys about these cases. And Onyancha claimed that he had this supernatural power, like if he came and said hi to you, maybe without touching you, you would follow him. But he gave an example with one lady that followed him, but since they did not shake hands, the lady survived. Like, he did not do anything to her. But he said if he found a lady or anyone and just greeted them, they would just walk and wamfuate hadi penye ataenda, and then he would kill them and drink the blood, like he was told by the lady. Now, let's get to the victims. One of his victims was a lady called Catherine Chelangat, and she had one kid, and she also disappeared in the area where Philip was working as a security guard. And she disappeared for like 3 months, and then after 3 months, the family gets a call asking for 30,000 ransom money so that they could get their girl back, that is Catherine. Now, they pleaded because they couldn't afford the money, and they settled at 15,000. But by the time they sent this money, or by the time Onyancha called them to ask for the money, Catherine was already dead. And this was something that he used to do. He could get someone, kidnap someone, kill them, then after months, he sent them a ransom letter, or called them for ransom. And this is after he had already killed the victims. Another victim, now this one is very sad. This was a schoolboy called Samuel. Now, Samuel disappeared from his home just like that. And the worst thing is that Philip, like Onyancha, he volunteered to to look for the boy and also gave them advice on what to do. Even the ransom letter that he wrote and gave, and they found it, he was telling them that this handwriting is for a lady, this can't be a man, it's only a lady who can be having your boy. And remember that the time that he's sending these ransom letters, the victims are already dead. The family could not afford the 40,000 ransom, so they pleaded for much less. Then they got 10,000, but by the time they paid the 10,000, the boy was already dead and they could not get their child back. So this is something that Onyancha used to do. Another victim of his was a prostitute in Thika. He took these prostitutes into those brothels that you know what happens, and he killed her, drank her blood, and left her there. And every day he would come and peep and see if the body was found or not. Even the day the police came and took the body, he was at the crowd looking and seeing if they have found something or something that is tied up to him. Philip's last victim was a boy named Mwiruri from Dagoretti, and he kidnapped this boy and asked for ransom. Now at this time things were now more advanced. It was in 2010, and the parents went and reported the case to the police. So after the boy's parents went to the police, the number that the ransom money was being sent to was traced back to Onyancha, and that is when he got arrested. And sadly, by the time that he was arrested, that was 2 months after the boy had disappeared. And it was sad because the parents finally found out that the boy had already been killed and there was nothing that they could do about it. Now Onyancha was arrested, and when he was arrested, he started to confess about the things that he had done, and that is when he said that he had killed nearly 20 people. And he also said about how he was being initiated into this cult, how he had to kill 100 people so that he can be given this large sum of money and also meet the cult leader. He also talked about that lady who was initiating him. The lady was arrested. She denied all the charges. She said she didn't do that to him, but he was positive that this lady did that to him. But she said no, and she doesn't know anything about any cults, and she was left to go free, and Onyancha was arrested. Onyancha later confessed about having other accomplices. That was, I think, Douglas Obero, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they were also arrested. And I remember at this time, like, everyone in the country was so scared, including me. I was so scared. Like, there's a person out there killing people and drinking their blood. And that is the story of the famous Philip Onyancha. That is his life story, what led him to being such a serial killer. And I think these things start when people are really small, like how you treat your kid when he's small, how you take care of them, the things that you feed them. You know, it's a small mind and they're starting to grow, and everything they are seeing, they are taking it all in. And I think something like that can affect a person when they are bigger in the future. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I know enjoyed or what, I don't know what the right word to use, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to turn on your post notification bell. I hope you guys are liking the new content. If so, please leave me a comment down there if you want me to continue with these stories. Yeah guys, so see you next time, and ciao, bye bye.